has displayed considerable restraint while handling the terrorist situations both along the line of control and in the hinterland. We reserve the right to respond to any act of the adversary at the time and place of our own choosing.
पाकिस्तान के हुक्मरान सुन ले, हमारे 18 जवानों का बलिदान बेकार नहीं जाएगा।
For such a treaty to work, it is important that there must be mutual trust and mutual cooperation between both the sides. It cannot be a one-sided affair.
We have made it very clear that talks and terror cannot go together. The very fact that 4 member countries of SAARC have decided against going to Islamabad for the SAARC summit, I think is a very, very, very powerful message.
समय की परिस्थितियां थी और आज की परिस्थितियां अलग है और हम इस संबंध में भी विचार कर रहे हैं, गंभीरता से चिंतन कर रहे हैं। ट्रेड, इकोनॉमी, ये ऐसे एस्पेक्ट हैं जो देश को मजबूत करते हैं निश्चित रूप से, लेकिन देश की सुरक्षा और देश की अखंडता हमारे एजेंडे में सर्वप्रथम रहेगी, सर्वोच्च रहेगी।
Welcome back. You're watching our live and continuing coverage from the India Today War Room. This is Gunners Day and it's turning out to be a happy Gunners Day for the Indian Army and for the people of India. A massive strike inside Pakistani territory, a strike that the people of India had been itching for a long time. The Modi government giving permission and super trained commandos from India's special forces carrying out this operation with surgical precision. Here is how this strike was carried out on Pakistani soil.
The Indian Army conducted surgical strikes last night at these launch pads.
It took 10 days for the army to prepare its response to Uri. According to top level, the operation began a little after midnight. Several teams of highly trained para-commandos were inserted into PoK, flying in the army's Mi-17 helicopters. On target were Pakistan's terror factories, 7 of them.
Based on very specific and credible information which we received yesterday, that some terrorist teams had positioned themselves at launch pads along the line of control.
5 crack teams conducted the operation, all from the 4 and 9 para-special forces. 7 launch pads were targeted in Bimber, Kale, Tatapani, Lipa, all across the LOC. The camps were located at a distance of up to 3 kilometers from the line of control. The special commandos inflicted heavy damage to terror infrastructure. According to reports, up to 40 terrorists were eliminated in the operation. The operation was all over at 4:30 a.m., with all soldiers making it back.
This operation took the Pakistanis by complete surprise. It was executed between 1 to 3 kilometers off the line of control on the Pakistani side. In fact, it was when the Indian troops were returning after the successful completion of the operation that the Pakistanis even realized. And then, of course, they resorted to firing, ceasefire violation, which was reported first this morning by India Today.
PoK has disputed all claims, saying that just 2 of its soldiers died in ceasefire violations by India. Meanwhile, there was action in the corridors of power in Delhi as well. Each move, each gunshot was being monitored live in Delhi in a top-secret war room in the Defence Ministry. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar, Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag and other top officials were watching the meticulously planned 4-hour operation live in the war room. Sources tell India Today that RAW, the nation's intelligence agency, was given the task of identifying the terror camps a week ago. The agency had reportedly marked out all activities and the presence of terrorists in each camp in detail. Bureau Report, India Today.
2 of India's finest military minds, men who've led the Indian Armed Forces. General V.P. Malik, the chief during the Kargil War, General Bikram Singh, chief right before General Suhag, are joining me on this broadcast. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure and a privilege having you on our broadcast this evening. I want to start with the Senior General, General VP Malik. The last time the Indian Army saw action of this kind was during Kargil, when the line of control heated up and there was immense firing. What are you, General Malik, making of this retaliation by India to Pakistan, provocation in Uri, and what do you expect will happen next, General Malik?
No, I think this action was needed. It was long overdue. We've been suffering this terrorist war for a very long time, and as everybody says, enough was enough. So I'm glad that the political authority, the CCS, gave permission for the armed forces to carry out this action. This action, I believe, was well calibrated. It was, to my mind, totally justified and legal, because this was primarily a counter-terror operation. It had nothing to do with Pakistan or even Pakistan Army. And this kind of action of countering the terrorists is being done all over the world, including USA and other major powers have done it. So I feel that this action was done well, and I must compliment all the troops who have taken part. And not only the army troops who have done well and who have come back safe and sound after inflicting casualties, sending the message that was required to be sent, but I also must compliment the CCS under the Prime Minister, because it's good to see everybody working in a very coordinated fashion.
Absolutely, and that is a big difference from past instances. The response this time aligned and coordinated. General Bikram Singh, we've seen surgical strikes since 2012 as well, but they were never publicly admitted. What do you make of the fact that the Director General, Lieutenant General Ranbir Singh, picked up the phone, called his counterpart in Rawalpindi and said, our forces went across the line of control and they've inflicted heavy damage? The fact that the army accepts that there's an operation of this nature, what do you make of that, General Bikram Singh? Welcome.
Right, Rahul, before I answer your question, let me congratulate the nation, compliment the government, the Indian military, the Indian Army's leadership, Northern Command, who've all been involved in this particular operation, because such plans are evolved through an interactive process, number one. Also, it's a great day, as you brought out. My compliments also to the artillery fraternity, on a very auspicious day for them. And I think the operation that has gone in, finally, Rahul, could you just repeat the question again, sorry?
General Bikram Singh, is this to you now? What do you believe happens next? The Pakistan Army in total denial, in shock. They're saying nothing happened. India is saying we've got videographic evidence. Do you believe Pakistan will stay in a state of denial? If you were in the army war room right now, what would you be looking out for, generals?
You see, they would remain in a state of denial because that suits them. In any case, in a controlled democracy where the political leadership is under the military, whatever comes out in the media is going to be with the consent of the military leadership. And obviously, when the military leadership across the line of control and in Pakistan is being shown in poor light, it is logical that they would not like anything to come out in their media or international media, or for that matter in our media, which perhaps plays down their role in Pakistan. So they would continue to deny this, least realizing that we have a videography of this entire operation, and at the befitting time, at the right time, perhaps we would make it public. But the point about what can happen next, I'll just touch upon that. I think very, very cleverly the objectives that were chosen for this particular operation, you would have seen, have been in the tactical domain, and I must salute the military leadership for this. I think, as I said earlier, Northern Command would have given those ideas, and plus also the intelligence fraternity. They too deserve all the kudos. The RAW, the IB, the other intelligence agencies have given those areas where these camps were. So, in other words, it's a very well, I would say, planned operation, very well coordinated operation, very well executed operation, and I think the right kind of public information perception management that has taken place as part of our psychological operations, I think it's befitting, I think, and my salute to the military, to the Indian Army, which has gone and done a yeoman's service to the nation today.
What do you, General Malik, make of Pakistan Army's denial? The fact that they're claiming that no operation happened, that there was no surgical strike. Do you believe this is just an attempt to lull people, that they are itching and waiting and planning for a response? Or do you believe this is an indication of the fact that they really can't do much about what India has done?
Look, primarily what they are saying is meant for their domestic audience. They want to underplay that, and that's what, and many a times it has happened. This is not the first time that they want to underplay what has been done by India, including this time when we occupied Siachen. You know, they did not want to disclose. Even today they are not saying that Siachen is not with them, but it is with us. So as far as that part, denial part is concerned, it is meant primarily for their domestic audience and also to some extent for the international audience. But at the moment we should now be looking ahead, not what Nawaz Sharif is thinking, because he's become irrelevant already, but what Raheel Sharif is thinking. That person has to retire, or he is expected to retire after 2 months. So what is going on in his mind before he retires? And that is where we have to watch out, and some retaliatory action cannot be ruled out, and for that we have to be fully prepared.
Okay. Raj Chingappa also has a question. Do you have a question, Raj?
Well, more of an observation
Yes.
that is there. You know, one tactic could be that they're denying this so that we come out with information and show video recordings of what we did, or drone recordings is there, and that then gives them the legitimacy
So
to
let me ask
strike
that
back.
question to both generals.
Is that
Starting
one of
with Vikram Singh, General Singh, everyone saying, where is the proof? When Osama bin Laden was executed in an operation, the army, the US Army never laid out proof. Should we lay out proof, or should we say we've done what we had to, we don't need to do anymore?
No, Rahul, I think there's no reason to doubt what our great soldiers have done. I think they've done, as I said earlier, a wonderful job, and there's no need of our being defensive and being very apologetic about it and trying to show the videography of this. It's just not required. I think, as General Malik brought out, and I respect and I honor his comments which he gave out earlier, that we have the legitimacy. We have the just cause for what we have done, and we had announced it earlier that we will do it at the time and place of our choosing. So, and plus, we've remained in the tactical domain. We were struck in the tactical domain at Uri, which is just about 5 to 6 kilometers away from the line of control. We have struck 2 to 3 kilometers in the Pakistani territory now, and it's all along the line of control. So, in other words, we don't have to be apologetic about it. These operations have been done in the past, but I think one of the greatest changes which I see which is fascinating, is the political will to execute this. I think that is fascinating.
That is the most important point. And I want to bring in on that note Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP, 2 former chiefs, 2 great military minds, saying what is different between this time and the past is the political will. Can you explain the government's rationale behind going public with the fact that these operations were carried out, because in the past too they've been done but never admitted, Nalin?
I think we need to see it in totality. Over the last 7 decades, a lot has been tried with Pakistan, including the military options. And there's always been an attempt to have one or the other option. What we find now, especially after Uri, which I think is an inflection point in terms of how we are dealing with Pakistan, is that the Prime Minister clearly said it's not going to go unpunished. And therefore, the important thing was that you started seeing a whole gamut of activities starting. Whether it was, looking at the Indus Water Treaty, whether it is looking at the most favored nation, whether it's looking at diplomatic issues, looking at Sushma Ji's speech at the UN, what the Prime Minister spoke at Cody Court, which is appealing to the people of Pakistan and saying our fight is not with you. But if you are challenging us, as in the Pakistani establishment or the elements there, that to a 1,000-year battle, we are ready for it. So Uri won't go unpunished. So in that entire thing, one of the options which came on early on, and as both generals have just pointed out, that the army said that we will pick a time of our choosing. And I think our compliments to our army, that they went in for this anti-terrorist operation, they went in on credible threat. What is important is they eliminated risk that would have translated into disaster had those terrorists crossed over, which would be not only in Jammu and Kashmir but beyond in other parts of the country. So I think they went there to make India more secure, and everyone compliments there. The nation is united on it. In terms of making it public, I think the message is also very clear that when it comes to terrorism, we are not going to be apologetic about it. Whether it's the party president, whether it's the prime minister, the indications are clear. This is a protracted battle. We have been fighting a protracted battle, but we will fight it now unequivocally, when we'll fight it unapologetically.
That's
and we'll
a
fight
very
it
important point. That this
because
is a
the dust of
long
terrorism,
battle.
whether it is
We just
Mogadishu,
heard
Brussels,
from one senior army general who said this is the first step in that battle. What could be the next step? I want to put that question both to General Bikram Singh and to General VP Malik. Starting with General Malik, we talk often about an escalation ladder inside a war room. What do you believe will be the next step in this escalation ladder? Will there be a next step at all? Because the army is saying nothing happened. If the PoK army believes nothing happened, they don't need to do anything. Will there be a next step? How do you see the escalation ladder play out? General Malik.
Rahul, as I said earlier, this is a very calibrated action that we have taken. And probably at the bottom of the ladder, escalation ladder. And having done that, we have spoken to Pakistan. We have told them that we have no intentions of raising this escalation further unless you do something different. And therefore, as far as we are concerned, I don't think we are interested in escalating it. And I don't know what the other side. But if they do that, we have also told them that we are ready for it. And that is how the escalation game plays. And I don't think there is any need for us to go beyond it immediately. If they react in a manner which is not correct, not in our interest, not in our national interest, then I think we should be ready to give them a proper response thereafter.
General Bikram Singh, if for a moment I take you back to your war game days, so imagine you're with us here in the India Today war game, and imagine for a moment you're a PoK delegate. So you're General Rahil Sharif, you're up for retirement shortly. Your prestige has just been hurt. The Indian Army Special Forces have come in.
Don't make me that, please. No, you keep me in India. Rahul, keep me in India.
Okay,
don't ask me that question, please. You keep me in India. I'll be able to speak better as an army chief from India. Sorry, not in his shoes. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. But tell me, General Singh, what do you believe would be a possible response from Pakistan? How do you see this play out now, given Rahil Sharif's own internal situation, given what's happening in Pakistan? How do you war game that?
Well, Rahul, I think General Malik has very beautifully summarized the whole thing. Let me just take one facet. The DGMO today articulated his thought process, I would say, in an excellent manner, in a very imaginative manner. And he put across in a very explicit manner that, look, we have called off the operation. In other words, he told them, look, you hit us at Uri, we've hit you back. And we've called off that operation because we've achieved the military intent. But alongside, in the same breath, he said, we are ready for any contingencies. So what he's done is, he's told them, look, we don't want to go beyond this. You hit us, we've hit you back. We've remained in the tactical arena. It's for you now to decide what you want to do. But please remember, we are prepared for all contingencies. So the ball is in Pakistani's court, and I really do not know what they would be doing. Well, we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, as General Malik brought out, General Rahil Sharif would be under tremendous pressure, 2 months to go. But what I can make out is that there would be acts of reprisal, there would be retribution, more in the form of asymmetric assets of theirs being used in certain areas, not just all along the LC, but even along the IB. And also we can expect some bad actions, the border action teams, which have happened in the past. We've also done it, they've also done it. So that kind of operations would manifest, and we should be prepared for that. And I think what they will do is, you see, I brought out earlier, Uri was selected very, very carefully by them. Uri is a place where the media can congregate in a very shortest possible time. And the world gets to know what has happened. So they will be choosing areas accordingly. But I am certain about it that our military, our army, our security forces are fully geared, and there's no question of anything this kind happening now.
Okay, Gaurav Sawant and Raj Chingappa both have a point. Raj goes first.
All right. General, good evening to both of you all. I had a question. While I've complimented the Indian Army and the Indian Armed Forces for what they did tonight, we also need to look back a bit, because you're mentioning bat strikes and the possibility of Pakistan coming in and attacking us. Now, one of the things that Uri threw up, as well as Pathankot threw up, was that we were somewhat ill-prepared for these kind of things. We were vulnerable at our peripheries. What do you think we need to do now, having learned those lessons both at Uri and at Pathankot? What do we need to do, because we are sure that Pakistan is going to make some attacks on this front?
Who takes that question first? Let General
You're
VP
asking
Malik take
me
that
or
question.
my senior
General
chief,
Malik,
please?
and
I think
after that you.
One at a time. General Malik first.
Raj, we have to be fully prepared for anything happening from the other side. And that means that our security, counter-infiltration grids, they must be in place. And that means that our security of the installations which are behind the border, all the units, whether they are administrative units or they are combat units, we cannot afford to make another error or lapses like it happened in the Adam base in Uri. So therefore, we must be totally on guard, and not just for the next few days, but I would expect for another 2-3 months, because you do not know what may go on in the mind of Rahil Sharif. And whatever is lacking in that, we should try and give them the wherewithal, the units, and we cannot afford, we should not permit anybody to get into our lines and carry out any of these terrorist actions anymore.
That's a question. Go
as far as the interior is concerned, once again, the Rashtriya Rifles as well as the...
General, I have a point. Just now, Pakistan wasn't expecting an Indian assault. That assault took place and Pakistan was nonplussed. Now, waiting for Pakistan to react and then we react, why don't we just drive home the point? Let Pakistan keep thinking, what will we do next? Why should we wait for Pakistan to do something and then respond? We have the advantage. Let Pakistan keep thinking what India will do next. Why should we be reactive? Why not be proactive? General Bikram Singh.
Rahul, first point of Raj Chingappa, he brought out that, it appeared as if we never had such plans before. Plans were very much over there. Please remember this. And these kind of operations, I want to tell you, and you'll find people who operated on the line of control, the battalion commanders, the brigade commanders, the divisional commanders, they'll tell you, this kind of operations have taken place. They've been taking place regularly, but the scale at which we have done now is phenomenal, and it actually demonstrates the political will. The second point is that,
with General Bikram Singh. So I'm going to slip into a quick break. General VP Malik, thank you for joining us. General Bikram Singh, I'm sorry, just at the end, we lost that line. We hope to have you back for a lot more. Gaurav, Admiral Sinha, Raj Chingappa will stay with me. We're also unfortunately receiving information that one Indian soldier has been captured by Pakistan. We're told by Northern Command that this is a deserter. I'll have that breaking story for you when we come back on the other side. This is disturbing. Breaking news that we're receiving. Here's a statement put out by Indian Army's Northern Command. One soldier from the 37 Rashtriya Rifles with an assault weapon inadvertently crossed over to the other side of the line of control. Pakistan has been informed of the same by the DGMO on the hotline. The Army says this man is a deserter. I want to go across to Jugal Purohit, tracks the Defence Ministry for us. Jugal, a deserter in the middle of a surgical strike. What's going on?
Well, Rahul, what we've been given to understand, the statements that you've just read out for our viewers coming from the Army sources as well as the Northern Command, it seems that there has been a slip-up in communications. What we are also given to understand that there's going to be a fresh, comprehensive statement which will be issued by the Public Relations Officer of the Indian Army to streamline things. As of now, of course, it has set a lot of confusion, throughout the entire press corps and as a result among the public as well. The Army maintains that there's a soldier from 37 RR who inadvertently walked out, especially on a day like this. It also says that there is a deserter in its rank again on a day like this. So there is definitely a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. But I've just spoken to somebody very senior. I'm given to understand that the Indian Army will be issuing a fresh statement any minute now.
His name is Sipahi Chandu Das of the Rashtriya Rifles. He was in Rajouri, is missing from the line of control, believed to have crossed over into Pakistan. He's the one Pakistani media is reporting is in Pakistani custody. But Raj and Gaurav, both, Raj, to you first, this is unfortunate, but it's a part of war. There will be casualties on our side, there will be casualties on the Pakistani side. In any case, it's better that there be a casualty when we're operating on Pakistani soil than we are sleeping in our barracks and then they come and hit us.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think, firstly, these are early reports. We really don't know what is there, and, we'll have to wait for further confirmation, which the Army says. But this is something we have to take in our stride. That doesn't detract from what we did today, which, as I said earlier, was outstanding stuff. We have given them a strong message. but we have kept it well within limits in the sense that we are making sure that it's just across the LOC as we did with Uri, as they did with Uri. And we have hit their troops as well as terrorists hard and sent across a message. This is expected, a certain amount of fallout. So far, there have been no reports of the paratroopers that went across.
No, all the paratroopers, Gaurav, came back safe and sound.
Absolutely.
2 were injured, all came back. A deserter crossing over?
So that clarity is still awaited. But I spoke to top sources in the army. They said all the soldiers who went in as part of this surgical operation in all sectors, they've all returned. This particular soldier, how was he taken prisoner while he still had a weapon? Was he a deserter? Was he weak in his mind? Was there another situation? Because not everyone there who's firing is going for a surgical operation. Some are also holding flanks. Was there a retaliation? Was there a border action team operation? We still do not know. The Pakistan army is also a professional army. So we still have to wait for some more details to filter in.
The message really to the people, don't be disappointed or disheartened. If you act against your enemy, there will be some fatalities. Very unfortunate, but that is expected. In any case, any army soldier will tell you it's better to die in action than to die when you're sleeping, when you're not expecting it.
Very much, Rahul, because you cannot have a war-like situation without casualties. In fact, in the armed forces, the casualties are expected even during training in peacetime.
Yes.
And therefore, if one soldier has got captured because he strayed into the enemy territory on which the clarity is yet to come, I wouldn't be very surprised.
Also, Pakistani media is claiming that 8 Indian soldiers have been claimed. To that, the army's put out a very strong rebuttal saying that that is a totally baseless report. There will also be, Raj, a lot of PSYOP, psychological operations. Pakistan just manufacturing a certain piece of information just with the intent of keeping their domestic population happy and with sending out a message to India.
Certainly. I mean, we should expect all kinds of dirty tricks to happen in the next couple of days, apart from the fact, as we were mentioning earlier, a possible strike on Indian territory. And we need to be prepared for that. Gaurav was mentioning earlier that we could be a bit proactive. Maybe we could look at also, I mean, as we move up, look at an option of striking some of their terrorist leaders, whether Hafiz Saeed, Masood Asar, all these chaps. This is what we have in our quiver if we want to. If Pakistan ups the ante, does something really silly, we still have lots of options to do.
Okay, let's now take our viewers through what this surgical strike was all about and how it was carried out. Here is a full report. Take a look.
Surgical strikes are military operations used by forces across the world. To hit enemy targets and installations quickly and effectively and fall back. All with lightning speed and precision. The nature of the attacks minimizes collateral damage and other casualties. Globally, military forces rely on surgical strikes to eliminate immediate threats when diplomatic and all other non-military channels do not bear fruit. Surgical strikes require not just detailed and exhaustive planning, but need to be carried out with absolute precision to achieve the objective of taking down targets with minimal to no collateral damage. Bureau Report, India Today.
Brigadier Mahmood Shah is joining us from Pakistan now. Brigadier Shah, welcome. What do you make of Pakistan Army's total denial? The Indian Army says they've got images, strong, compelling proof. Pakistan seems to be in La La Land, denying that any operation took place, Brigadier Shah.
Yes, I myself was really surprised in the discussion that the journalists were having. There is definitely, I think, professionally, they should know what is surgical strike and what is just line of control violation. What all has happened according to our information, and otherwise I have served there for 3 tenures. So I know that on line of control, this firing across the line of control and at times is having some casualties is a very routine thing. This was from 89 till 90. Till 2004, we had a heated line of control, and they used to be firing every day from our side and from their side, and sometimes we used to have casualties if the soldier is caught outside.
What happened next, Brigadier Shah? General Raheel Sharif up for retirement, desperate for a promotion, desperate for an extension. Nawaz Sharif obviously not very keen on giving that extension. What do you think would be going on in the minds of General Sharif and also the co-commanders at Rawalpindi?
I think that General Raheel Sharif has been a very, very successful chief of the army staff out of all, particularly for the fighting against the terrorists for operations or whether that he has carried out. He has made a major difference to the situation in the country, and I think if he is given an extension, it will be in order. But the way he has his pride and his unit and his professionalism that I know of, I think he will not be accepting. And therefore, there will be someone else who will be taking over.
Well, he says he doesn't want an extension, but a lot of very sharp experts say that what happened in Uri was part of a plan to ensure that circumstances are created which leave Nawaz Sharif with no option but to give Raheel Sharif an extension. Let me take you through all the reactions that have come from Pakistan. Khwaja Asif, who till yesterday was threatening nuclear retaliation, today says if you attack us again, we will attack you. Here is all the response from Islamabad.
Months after Prime Minister Modi's surprise peace overture in Lahore, the kid gloves are off. Pakistan caught napping by the surgical strikes of the Indian Army. Amid the diplomatic saber rattling, India's move stunned Pakistan. First came the bravado. Nawaz Sharif warned India of a military response to what he called unprovoked and naked aggression. Then came the confusion. General Raheel Sharif met the Pakistani Prime Minister and told him that there were no surgical strikes in brief, downplaying India's LOC action as a mere ceasefire violation across the line of control, a violation that claimed the lives of 2 army soldiers. But Pakistan's National Security Advisor Nasir Janjua gave the game away. He bragged about Pakistan's preparedness, virtually admitting that his country was breached. Pakistan's opposition, meanwhile, was busy with their own politics.
ये जो जिस तरह की आवाजें आ रही हैं नरेंद्र मोदी की गवर्नमेंट से, जरूरी है कि कौम सारी इकट्ठी हो और इंशाल्लाह एक भरपूर तरीके से वो जवाब दूंगा जो अब तक नवाज शरीफ नरेंद्र मोदी को जवाब नहीं दे सका, वो इंशाल्लाह आप कल जवाब सुनेंगे.
India's sudden strike 11 days after the Uri attack has left the Nawaz government rattled. India's message that the days of restrained diplomacy are over has hit Pakistan where it hurts. Bureau Report, India Today.
You know, there's a very interesting tweet that's just been put out by Rajnath Singh, our Minister for Home Affairs, very clearly somewhere his sense of humor taking a dig at Pakistan even in the midst of all this tension. Rajnath Singh says the India's under-18 hockey team registers victory in Asia Cup semi-final with Pakistan with surgical precision. Surgical precision. Congratulations to the boys on making India proud. You know, this is something, it's not just about BJP ministers, Admiral Sinha. This is something every right-thinking person in this country has been waiting for. Every single time, from Mumbai to Uri to Pathankot, whenever India was attacked, whenever India bled, people felt the hurt. There was never a response. That response gives everybody a sense of pride and satisfaction and achievement.
Rahul, you heard 2 chiefs of army staff just a little while ago, and they said it was long overdue. And importantly, that the government has authorized this and they have declared it. So that itself means that the government which is in power, they speak the voice of the people. And therefore, I'm not surprised that, people are rejoicing all over the country.
We're also being told that Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself, before this we were told that Manohar Parrikar, Ajit Doval, the army chief, the DGMO, they were all in the war room looking very carefully at images coming in, information coming in from this surgical strike. We're told that Narendra Modi also was up all night. He apparently didn't have a sip of water, was up monitoring the situation himself. And I think, Raj, his political will. The fact that he on day one gave political sanction for this operation. These options have existed. You heard from Bikram Singh. These have been done. It was never made public, never announced, because the government of that time didn't have the will. This one does. That's the difference.
He showed clearly he means business. He keeps his word. And I like the range of options he's done. And this is calibrated brilliantly. You know, he's just not striking across on a military front. He's hit the diplomatic scene. He's threatened or sort of, waived the Indus Water Treaty. He's talked about the most favored nation. He's throwing everything at them, but keeping it restrained to the point where if they begin to resile and they begin to behave themselves, we are fine. The larger message is not just to wreak revenge, but to tell Pakistan that they cannot continue to do what they're doing. This is payback time in some senses, but is also warning them that, look, this is the time, step back.
One of the leaders who's at the pinnacle of India's security architecture said that so far the response, Gaurav, both from the Indian side and the Pakistani side, was on predictable lines. Pakistan would hurt us, India would do nothing. By crossing the LOC last night, India has inserted a sense of unpredictability into the mix. That's why the generals in Rawalpindi are flapping. They don't know what to do, because they never thought their government would have the courage to go out, cross the line of control and smash these camps to smithereens.
And announce it to the world. So expect the unexpected. What is India doing? It's a statement of intent, and they will continue to go ahead with it militarily, diplomatically, economically. Every trick in the trade they will continue to try, is what sources are telling us. From tomorrow, once again, it could be the most favored nation that will be discussed, whether it should be withdrawn or not. So Pakistan will continuously remain under pressure. They're not getting their foot off the pedal. The aim is not just to make headlines. The aim is to dismantle the terror infrastructure in Pakistan.
In the midst of
all
all of this, border areas have been put in a state of high alert. Along our border with Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab, in Rajasthan, locals being asked to evacuate to at least 10 kilometers away from the IB or the LOCR. Reporters in Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir and Rajasthan filed the story. One of the other things that we've seen, which is also not seen very often, is political unity across the board. The Congress, the left, all opposition parties congratulating the Modi government for the super successful military strike. And remember that at a time like this is crucial. The fact that our netas don't bicker but stand together, put India first.
Well planned and well executed operation, and I must congratulate the armed forces.
That such condemnable acts will not be tolerated.
Salute the Indian forces for their successful operation.
Thank them for the kind of bravery that they have shown.
A rare display of unity by the political parties. Leaders cutting across party lines, complimenting the army and the government for carrying out the surgical strikes inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir against the terrorists. Congress President Sonia Gandhi issued a statement and praised the armed forces and also extended her support to the government.
India has...
The Prime Minister and the army, all Indians, are appreciating the steps taken by our Indian army in countering.
Soon after it was announced that army conducted surgical strikes, the government reached out to the opposition and briefed them about the operation. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Left Leader Sitaram Yechuri, Chief Ministers of Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, West Bengal were informed about the successful operation. In the evening, an all-party meeting was called at the North Block, where the opposition leaders were briefed about the operation in detail. The leaders, in one voice, backed the Modi government and army.
From our side, I have congratulated the Indian Army for these operations. Good, that is good. But what exactly is the overall assessment? They said it will take a little time to make that assessment. So let us see, let's wait and see.
Government and army has received some intelligence reports in the recent days that again attempts are being made to infiltrate terrorists. Taking that information, the army has worked out a detailed counter-terrorist action.
और ये ज़रूरी था कि इस तरह की टेररिस्ट जो गतिविधियां हमारे मुल्क के खिलाफ
PoK और पाकिस्तान से चल रही हैं उनको ख़त्म किया जाए और हमने
However, reacting to the surgical strikes, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti has expressed concern over the escalation of tension at the border. The reactions of the political parties after the anti-terror operation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is a welcome departure from their earlier stand. Remember, soon after the Uri attack, the political parties indulged in war of words over the issue.
With surgical strikes in PoK, India has given out a strong message to Pakistan that those harboring terrorists will not be spared. With India's action, there has been a briefing of the envoys as well as the top political leaders. But India plans to beef up security and is also moving people from the borders in a mood that perhaps there could be an anticipation of a retaliatory attack by Pakistan. With camera person Ashwani, Jugal Purohit, Mahasiddiqui, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Delhi for India Today.
We're receiving breaking news. The Office of the District Magistrate in Jammu has put out a circular asking for all schools in the area to be shut in Khaur, Joria, Ammar, Arispura, Arnia, Satwari, Akhnur. All these schools tomorrow will be shut. Final words from all my guests. I'll start with Admiral Sinha. A tense night tonight along the line of control in the IB. What do you believe happens next?
Entire 3 services have gone into the very highest state of readiness, and that means that both defensive and offensive measures which are in the standard operating procedure, they would have been put in place, and therefore they have said that they're ready for all kinds of retaliation.
Rachingappa?
Well, first of course, let's compliment, and great to see the unity that we saw early on the program with the opposition parties all congratulating India, and of course I describe it as 3 Bs: bold, brave, brilliant in terms of the way they did it. Now we have to look out for the 4th B, which is the blowback, and what they're planning to do. And I think we need to be absolutely careful, particularly armed forces bases across the LOC. And let's not forget, when Mehbooba Mufti, the Chief Minister of Kashmir, talked about Jammu and Kashmir, talked about the concern she had, we need to also worry about Kashmir and bring normalcy and secure that as well.
Absolutely. Gaurav Sawant? The army on a state of high alert, the Pakistani army under pressure to retaliate, but now would not be the time because there's immense state of preparedness. They would be completely out of their mind to try and choose a surgical strike. Because I was speaking to a very senior official in the army. He said, make no mistake, there will be a response. Will they delay that, or to prove a point to their army and to their public, will they rush in?
So we could see some LC hotting up someplace or the other, but it's Pakistan Army's strategic assets, the terrorists or their sleeper cells here, they could strike. But Rahul, what is equally significant is the strike that could take place on Indian interests in Afghanistan, and that is sometimes we see that as vulnerable. They've done that in Herat, they've done that in Jalalabad. They could try and do something like that again, but what they really need to factor in is the fact that, again, what my sources are telling me, we've thought 3 scenarios ahead and 3 responses ahead.
And we've sent a message: you attack us, no matter where it may be, whether it is in Uri or in any part of the country, then there will be an unpredictable response. And make no mistake, Islamabad, that response will be at a time and place of our choosing. The government has boldly taken India into uncharted territory. In this game, in this war room, you can fire the first salvo, you don't know what happens next. This is a battle that has only just begun. Thank you very much for tuning in to the India Today War Room coverage. We will be here night and day over several days, bringing every aspect of this story to you first. Till then, from all of us here in the India Today War Room, goodbye.